Donna Blevins. I'm the Senior Associate Attorney at the Dunken Law Firm. Today I want to talk a little bit about client care. When you are looking at the Mass Tort Academy modules on paralegals and paralegal education, we talk about the intake process, how important it is to get information from the clients, but also how important it is to make the clients feel good about picking your law firm as the law firm to represent them. Making clients feel good about that choice is something that continues throughout the entire representation, from the day you sign them up until the day their case is closed. And when it comes to client care, there's really one overriding principle that I like to talk about when I teach staff and other attorneys how to handle clients and how to deal with their needs. And that is to remember that the reason we're lawyers is clients. And if we didn't have clients, we don't really have any reason to be there. Their needs are what we are there to represent. Their problems are what we are there to solve. And when we're able to do that, the clients are the ones who benefit from what we do. And if they're not there, then we don't have any reason to be there. I think it's very important to remember that clients are not nuisances and they're not annoyances. They're that reason to be there, and when we do right by them, they're the reason we are able to survive and thrive as law firms to continue to help other people another day. There are 5 principles I like to teach when I talk to my staff and to other attorneys about how to deal with the clients we represent. The first is that you create trust from the get-go, and you continue to keep that trust renewed and refreshed throughout the representation. One of the first ways that I go about trying to create trust with a client is to talk to them in a way that connects with something in them. Whether it's they live in a part of the country that I'm familiar with and have traveled in and can connect to them that way. Whether we can talk about events that we all share in common. And that way we connect. They trust that I am interested in what they are doing, interested in what they are dealing with, and that I can then represent them, at least tell their story in a way that they think helps them instead of hurting them. The second thing is that we have to be empathetic. People are telling us about what is happening to them. They're telling us about being diagnosed with cancer. They're telling us about losing their sight. They're telling us about endless hospital visits, things that they can't do with their grandchildren anymore, ways their marriages are affected. What they want to hear is some sign that we get this is bad. And that is simply to say things like, I am so sorry to hear that. That must have been very difficult for you. And take time to listen. Don't just cut them off. These people want to be heard. They want somebody to hear what they are going through. They also are afraid. They are afraid they might die. They are afraid they will lose all their money to medical bills. They're afraid their lives are going to change in ways that they can never repair. So it is important to take the time to listen and to say, I get it. I understand what you're going through, and not to rush them through things. Not to say, well, I get that, but what I really need to know today is whatever. It is important to listen to them and to hear what they have to say. The third thing is we have to be patient. You must remember that many times when people call us, they feel terrible. They have medication that makes them even sicker. They've just been to chemotherapy. They think they're going to die. They don't feel good. And so when they call in, they aren't always the nicest people. They aren't always the most generous. They are not always the most patient people. And sometimes they can be gruff, even rude. But you have to remember, these people are in a difficult situation. Our clients are in pain. Our clients are in fear. And so we have to excuse some of that behavior to a point. So be patient. And I find this particularly true when I train staff on having to explain to people what we need and why you might have to explain something several times, and why it's very important not to use a lot of jargon when you do so. Try and simplify things. We know they need medical records, so ask them for medical records. They may not know what a DEXA scan is, so we tell them, at some point you got tested for your bone density, right? That's the report we need. And so you just have to find ways to use different language in order to convey these things and what it is that we have to do. The fourth thing is we have to be responsive. We always get told in CLE meetings that the number one complaint that a bar association gets about clients is that the lawyer doesn't talk to me. The lawyer doesn't tell me anything. I never hear from the lawyer. And so most firms have a fairly strict policy about calling clients back. Most of the time it's within 24 hours, at least by the next business day. And I think that's very important. It cuts down on bar complaints, but it also lets the client know that you are hearing them, you know that they are there, and you want to be responsive to their needs. Even if your answer is there is no news, we have nothing new to tell you, they at least know you heard that they called, you cared enough to respond. And finally, we have to educate. Always educate. And the reason you educate is because most of the time when clients are really angry or really upset, it's because they don't understand what's going on. And so that's what you want to make sure they understand. Let them know why you are sending them documents. Let them know why they need to sign these documents. Let them know why this is important to their case, what it means if they do it, what it means if they don't do it. Because a lot of times they just see paper and it's legal jargon and they don't understand. But they do appreciate it when you say, look, this is a settlement document. This is how much money you're going to get, and you have to sign this release. And the reason is that you're saying you're resolving the lawsuit. And in exchange for that, the defendant's going to give you money. And then they understand, and they can then say, okay, now I know what I'm doing. In the beginning, in intake and discovery, there's a lot of information we ask for. And so it's important to say to them, this is why we need this information. This is what we have to prove. We have to prove you took this medication. We have to prove you have this disease. That's why we're doing what we're doing. When it comes to the employment contract, we have to explain that we have to be able to say, we represent you. You have asked us to do this. That's why you have to sign a contract. It allows us to go in as your attorney and do these things. In the final analysis, I think client care boils down to the golden rule, right? We just treat them the way we want to be treated. We want people to express that they understand what we're going through. We want to be able to trust people. We want to know that people are hearing us and that people don't get frustrated just because we have a question and we may not understand something, that they are patient with us. We want people to respond to us. And in the end, we want people to explain what is happening to us and why things are going the way they're going. And I think when you follow all of those rules, it's pretty simple. You have clients that you care about, you have clients that know you care about them, and you create a good attorney-client relationship that lasts throughout the representation. That keeps your clients happy. It may make them refer other clients to you. And at the end of the day, the client, who's the reason for our existence, winds up being happy.